welcome to HW News. This is me Aarti. Prime Minister Modi is in Thailand today and he is attending three very important summits there. The Asian India Summit, the East Asia Summit and very important, the RCEP Summit. Well, ahead of the India's participation in the RCEP Summit, many protests are erupting back home. Especially the farmers and the small traders are not really happy with the India signing the free trade agreement. The All India Kisan Sangharsh Coordination Committee, that is AIKSCC, a coalition of over 250 farmers' organizations in the country, said that tens of lakhs of farmers across the country would participate in a nationwide protest on November 4 to warn the government against going ahead with the inclusion of agriculture in the RCEP free trade agreement. Now, Congress Interim President Sonia Gandhi also said today that the RCEP agreement will be a body blow to the Indian economy. Countering her Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal, who gave a thumbs up to the RCEP agreement, questioned where was Sonia Gandhi when India was forced to join the RCEP free trade agreement by the UPA government. Several dairy farmers have also protested against this, but PM Modi has assured that India will not sign the deal unless its concerns are fully accommodated. Now all eyes are on the summit that will be held in Bangkok. There are many questions that pop up in one's head. First of all, what exactly is RCEP? Now RCEP is an acronym for Regional Comprehensive Economic Program, which is a massive free trade agreement between the countries. The free trade agreement would mean that two or more countries will make the import and export hassle-free and obstruction-free. It will mean that there will be less number of processes involved in the import and export. This will also impact the tariffs imposed on the goods. Usually a free trade agreement also implies that there are little to no tariffs and quotas for the goods. The negotiation on the FTA have been going on since 2013. Now the agreement has neared completion. Secondly, how many countries are participating in the free trade agreement? Well, there are 16 nations that are involved in the RCEP, including 10 ASEAN countries, which India is part of: Indonesia, Thailand, Singapore, Malaysia, the Philippines, Vietnam, Myanmar, Brunei, Cambodia and Laos. And the 6 countries these Asian countries have free trade agreement with, that is Australia, China, India, Japan, New Zealand and Korea. These nations house 50% of the world's population. They represent 25% of the global GDP, 30% of the global trade and 26% of foreign direct investment flows. Now, as per Piyush Goyal, the free trade agreement is strategically important for India. He had at an event in Nagpur said that if India remains out of RCEP, it will be left isolated from this large trading bloc. The trade among the RCEP countries is about $2.8 trillion. But domestic industries are not very happy about it, especially the agriculture and dairy sector, and their concerns are not unfounded. Now, if we talk about the dairy industry, it is very important in Indian rural economy. India ranks first in milk production, accounting for 20% of world production. The dairy sector in India grew at the rate of 6.4% annually in the last 4 years against a global growth rate of 1.7%. The Indian dairy sector is the largest contributor to the agriculture gross domestic product. The 2018-19 economic survey says that more than 50% of India's dairy sector is run by unorganized sector, which means local farmers or those involved only in the dairy business. Now, if you look at the industry players, they are mostly homegrown brands like Amul, Mahanand, RA, Gokul, etc. The free trade agreement would mean foreign players entering the market big time, and it would threaten the Indian brands. Indian dairy players wouldn't be able to match up to the competitive market and eventually will lead to losing their jobs. Even the RSS affiliated Swadeshi Jagran Manch has raised objection over the RCEP deal. We talked to Swadeshi Jagran Manch's Deepak Sharma. According to him, if foreign players enter the market, as many as 5 crore people in the dairy industry would lose their jobs.
इस पर क्लियर स्टैंड है कि हम इसको अपोज करते हैं और देश की इकोनॉमी, देश की एम्प्लॉयमेंट, स्मॉल स्केल इंडस्ट्री, डेयरी फार्मर्स, इन सभी सेक्टर्स के लिए ये समझौता जो है ये भारी नुकसान पहुंचाने वाला ये समझौता है। हमारा जो आसियान देशों के साथ ट्रेड डेफिसिट था वो 7.7 बिलियन डॉलर था। इसमें 16 देश हैं इसमें आरसीईपी में, इंक्लूडिंग इंडिया। 5 सालों में 31 मार्च 2014 को वो ट्रेड डेफिसिट बढ़ा 0.4 बिलियन डॉलर और हो गया 8.1 बिलियन डॉलर एज ऑन 31 मार्च 14। उसके बाद हमने पूरे आसियान, चाइना, इनके साथ खुली बाहों से स्वागत किया ट्रेड में। तो 31 मार्च 2019 को वो ट्रेड डेफिसिट आसियान के साथ 13.8 बिलियन डॉलर बढ़कर 21.9 बिलियन डॉलर हो गया। और आरसेप के सारे कंट्रीज अगर हम देखें, बाकी 15 कंट्रीज, उन सब से हमारा ट्रेड डेफिसिट है। तो हमारा कहना है कि जब टैरिफ्स के बावजूद ट्रेड डेफिसिट इतना तेजी से बढ़ रहा है और जब आरसेप होगा तो 80 से कोई 74 से लेकर 90% तक गुड्स जो है वो जीरो टैरिफ पे वो होंगी। तो टैरिफ्स के बावजूद इतना हमारा घाटा बढ़ा है, तो टैरिफ्स रिमूवल के बाद वो घाटा अलार्मिंग होगा। डेयरी फार्मर्स का जहां तक बात है, हमारे जो डेयरी सेक्टर है वो जो कंज्यूमर से जो कॉस्ट लेता है, अमूल है, मदर डेयरी है, तो वो 60% से ज्यादा अमाउंट उसका ओरिजिनल डेयरी मिल्क प्रोड्यूसर को जाता है। वो अपना गेन 30%, 35% में वो करती है, सब ट्रांसपोर्टेशन, पैकेजिंग, प्रॉफिट्स, एक्सपेंस सब। लेकिन चाइना में अगर हम देखें तो उसको एक्चुअल प्रोड्यूसर को वो 20% जाता है, न्यूजीलैंड में 23% जाता है, ऑस्ट्रेलिया में 24% जाता है, इंडियन फार्मर को 60+% जाता है। और लगभग 10 करोड़ लोग हमारे डेयरी से जुड़े हुए हैं, उसमें अधिकांश महिलाएं हैं। तो हमारा मानना है लगभग 5 करोड़ लोग डेयरी सेक्टर से, जो कि गरीब लोग हैं, महिलाएं हैं अधिकांश, वो अपने रोजगार से बाहर इसमें हो जाएंगे।
Now let's understand why farmers are opposing it. The country in the past has witnessed several massive farm protests, especially farmers demanding increased MSP and subsidy and loan waivers. At this point, what India needs is a reform in the agricultural sector, but RCEP will unleash a disaster. Now, United Planters Association of South India, an apex body of planters of tea, coffee, rubber, cardamom and pepper, conducted a study. The study says with RCEP, the products will be under intense competition and imports into the country will likely increase over the time. Now, just like dairy, India's agricultural sector is mostly unorganized too. This will have a massive negative impact on them. We talked to Prem Singh Gehlawat, who is affiliated with All India Kisan Sangharsh Coordination Committee. He said that while in other countries, governments have been heavily subsidizing crop inputs, these facilities are not provided in India and thus Indian farmers are ill prepared to compete in the world markets.
होना तो ये चाहिए, अगर कोई चीज कम पड़ती है तो उसका आयात किया जाए। और इसमें क्या होगा कि हमारा निर्यात कम होगा, आयात ज्यादा कर रहे हैं। क्योंकि ये आज से नहीं, ये बहुत पहले से, जब से इन्होंने मात्रात्मक जो वो था प्रतिबंध हटाया था, करीब 1400-1500 चीजों पे प्रतिबंध हटा दिया था इन्होंने, मात्रात्मक जो खाने पीने की चीजें थी, उससे यहाँ का जो किसान है वो भी चौपट हुआ है। 1400-1500 आइटम पे हटा दिया था, और जिसमें सभी थे, मसाले थे, बहुत सारी चीजें थी, जिसमें वो जो आयात करने की जो वो थी सीमा थी, वो इन्होंने खुली कर दी थी। क्योंकि ये तो मनमोहन सिंह के टाइम से पॉलिसी बनती चली आ रही थी कि पूरा दुनिया जो है एक गांव की तरह लगेगा, कोई अपना माल कहीं बेचे। अब आप ये देखिए कि जहाँ दूसरे देशों में जहाँ इतनी भारी सब्सिडी दी जाती है, उनके तो प्रोडक्ट फ्री के बराबर है, समुद्र में फेंकते हैं वो, और वो यहाँ किसी भी रेट में भेजेंगे तो हमारा प्रोडक्ट गेहूं जो है पहले ही घाटे में चल रहा है, तो वो बाहर किस रेट पे बेचेंगे? हम बेच ही नहीं सकते, हमें तो आयात करना पड़ेगा, निर्यात तो बड़ा होगा ही नहीं।
Well, that's not it. The RCEP also proposes that 92% of India's goods would be tariff-free over the next 15 years. And most countries wanted India to slash existing tariffs on up to 90% of all of the goods. Most of these countries are the ones with whom India has trade deficit, which means we import from them more than we export to them. And China tops the list. Though the government has been saying that it will keep the domestic interest in mind, the farmers and dairy industry is suspicious. Several experts also believe that though RCEP is a big leap for India, it is not yet prepared for it and should hold off the RCEP agreement. Meanwhile, all eyes will be on what move India makes in the RCEP summit. Do let us know what you think in the comment box below. For more news and updates, you can log on to www.hwnews.in. Now you can also download our HW News app on your Android Play Store and Apple Store. Do not forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, like our Facebook page and follow us on Twitter.